Happy New Year, and welcome back to another Happy Pod, or welcome for the very first time. My name is Nathan. I am the main co-host of this podcast that I own, and I am joined by the lesser co-host. You know him as the groom-to-be, the groom with a room. His name is Lawrence Thomas Heisey.
Very weird intro there. Thanks for that.
Weird energy in the studio today.
There is, yeah. If you were to break up my ownership percentage, if I'm the lesser co-host, what would you say I contribute?
It's not a matter of contributing. It's a matter of
just hierarchy, is it?
Yeah, it's just ownership.
I see you've countered my point that I edit every episode of this podcast.
Look, contributions aside, okay.
Yeah.
In terms of the legal ownership of this podcast, I am the owner, the director, the CEO. You are the part-time intern. Yes.
The seasonal part-time intern.
You're the seasonal apprentice.
I mean, to be fair, that checks. I mean, the king has the highest position in the entire country, and he's made a living doing absolutely fucking nothing.
Brutal. So, come on. You call this nothing? I spent 600 quid on this.
Oh no, to be fair, I just wanted to have a dig at the royal family. This wasn't really aimed at you. I just saw an easy Charles swipe and
that's
took
fair.
it.
I'll always appreciate a dig at the royal family. Lawrence, oh fuck, no one cares, Lawrence, is what I should have said 2 minutes ago before I was distracted by your ruse. But Lawrence, why don't you tell the people what this show is?
Nathan, this is a show where we get together, we talk about movies, TV shows, games, almost did it again, games, pop culture, and we discuss it and we try and avoid the toxic nonsense that you see in discourse often. We don't always succeed, but we have, frankly, a very fun time, it must be said.
We do. We have a great time doing it. And we also have a great time when you ask me.
Another happy question. Smooth, I like that. That was nice. So I would be lying if I said I'd thought about this question any more than maybe airing it out on a lost recording about 3 minutes ago or whatever.
It wasn't lost, it was deleted.
It was deleted, for good reason, and we'll never tell you why.
Yeah.
Right, what we do is I ask Nathan a question at the start of every episode. It's normally it can be a would you rather, a yes or a no, a hypothetical, and I give Nathan the sum total of the episode's recording to figure out his answer, and he will report back to us at the end. Today we're obviously doing Barbarian, so Nathan, you are in Tess's position. You find yourself arriving at the Airbnb you have booked only to discover that, shock horror, another man is inside. Now this man, to make it personal to you, I shan't name his name, is which I will beep. And if you are listening at home and wonder who was that guy, picture Bill Skarsgård but a bit creepier.
Yeah.
Nathan, your choices are spend the night alone or go in and spend an entire evening with that man.
Okay.
Just for added sauce, I think you have to do everything they did. You have to share a bottle of wine, put the sheets on in a flirty way, maybe almost kiss. Who knows?
There was no almost kiss.
There was an energy. She pulls up his photo the next day and is like, maybe.
Yeah, but there was no almost kiss.
Her and Marcus aren't working out, Nathan. Right?
There was no almost kiss, though.
No, maybe not an almost kiss, but there was the air. The air in the room was that of a romantic one.
A lingering energy.
Anyway, so tune back in, or just remain tuned.
Remain tuned, for God's sake.
Fucking do not go.
You got to do this podcast. Oh my God. So your thoughts on this movie?
Yes, you know me. I'm not typically a horror bloke. I was worried because I'm terrible. I always cover my half of a screen because I feel like that makes me safer when I watch horror movies. I don't know why. It's just a fucking nonsensical thing I do. But anyway, I watched this and I really enjoyed it. I thought this was, as horror movies go, I feel like the genre is extremely oversaturated with shit ones. I know we've spoken about that before, where it's just there's another nun and she's a ghost face nun and it's like a Snapchat filter scary face thing, jump scare and loud fucking crescendo and all of this. I feel like this it brought a really strong and interesting plot. It was a very interestingly woven movie. I think at a certain point I thought the pacing was a little bit I'm not sure if I can get into this or if it's as accessible as I thought it was going to be. But it came into its own. I really enjoyed it. And I think the mileage that this movie gets out of its casting alone is fucking just mental. I enjoyed it. What about you?
I hated watching this movie.
Wait, you hated the movie or you hated watching the movie?
I hated watching the movie, and well done on noticing that distinction.
I'm very clever when I pick up facial cues as you look directly at me while you do them.
Yes, it is a good movie. It is a well-made movie. It's a engaging story, and it is thrilling, and it's tense, and you are caught up in it. I hated watching it because I didn't know this was a horror movie. Yes, I know you told me that it was a horror movie, but I didn't remember that. So I was just like, oh, watch this silly little movie, and then I'll go talk about it and do my silly little podcast. So I wasn't in the right frame of mind to be spooked for an hour and 40 minutes.
Okay,
and then the first, 40 minutes or whatever of this movie was a fucking nightmare. It was just 40 minutes and I was in a very dark room. I watched it in bed on my MacBook, just all cozy, but just in a very dark and alone space.
Oh no.
And it was just tension building for 40 minutes, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And with each choice and decision that was made, I was just there actually saying to my laptop, no, don't do this. I don't like any of this. And I was very uncomfortable, and I had a bad time.
Is that not the fundamentals for what a horror movie should achieve in an audience member?
Yes, but I don't like it.
No. All right, for context, I heard about this movie because I edited a video on it. So I had an understanding of the premise, and I knew one minor detail. So apologies for walking you into that blindfolded.
I had listened to a full spoiler review podcast of this very movie, but it turns out completely forgot literally everything that was said, because nothing was like, oh yeah, I know this.
I'm telling James that you think his content is not memorable. Horrible experience, good movie, right?
Horrible experience, pretty good movie. I think it gets a little dumb towards the end.
As most horrors do, I think.
Yeah. It was a little let down towards the end. It's also a bit wanky.
Define wanky for the majority of American listeners that we have, Nathan.
I think that's true, actually.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the type of shit you and all your mates like. It's a bit like, oh, look at me, this is a film.
Show your working. What about it screams this is a film other than it is a film?
Specifically the scene where they add a bit of exposition, kind of, and go back to the 80s with the house, and there's that guy. Yeah. And it was like, oh, look at us, we're still widescreen. But now, because we're going back to the 80s, we're going to be in 4:3 like every movie in the 80s was. You remember that? You remember all the 80s movies that are in 4:3, because this is the 80s.
Yeah, I
literally
get that.
Use a framing device.
I mean, it did right. It worked. It's not distracting.
It was just... it wasn't distracting. It was distracting when I noticed it, but it was just a bit... I guess.
You thought it was a choice for choice's sake, kind of thing.
It was a choice that when whoever made that choice was like, oh, they'll love this. Yes.
Fair enough. I think I'll tell you what. One thing I think the movie does really, really well is it comes so close to being a preachy piece, I think, but it doesn't get there, even though almost every component of it. Right. Are you
talking about cancel culture and wokeness?
No,
I woke.
I think more the
or
message.
Or is it not woke enough?
No, I don't. Such a minefield of using that word. I don't even know what the right side of that word is anymore. There's a couple of rapists in this movie. I thought they were bad characters. That's me insured. That's me. I'm saved now from whatever I say. I think they're bad people. I think they're great characters. I think they're terrible fucking human beings, obviously. Yes. They all know. What do you make of the cast? Did you know who was in this?
No, not a single person, not a single clue who was going to show up. Like I said, knew literally nothing about the movie, apart from the full spoiler review I listened to, which I had completely forgotten. Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's Bill Skarsgård. He's a weird-looking dude. Oh, okay, he is the creepiest dude in the universe. Oh, okay, he's actually not that bad. What a roller coaster of events that was. I was like, oh, he's definitely going to kill her. Like, I was fully convinced that he was about to murder her.
Did you think it was going to be like the Airbnb of death? Like, he'd set it up to be like every room is a fucking torture thing or something?
Yeah, some shit like that. It was some weird shit was definitely going to go down. They cast a weird-looking guy to throw me off this end.
I love that about this. I love the choice to be like, you've all seen It. Tess didn't see It because it doesn't exist in her universe. So
I reckon it does.
But was it him? was that the guy in it?
Well,
Or she's got the Tim Curry one. She hasn't caught up with everything yet.
yeah.
You know when guys... I'm sure you've been in a scenario like this before where like maybe you encounter like maybe you're walking down the road and it's like relatively late and there's a woman by herself walking.
Yeah.
And you think...
And you're overly conscious of yourself.
Yeah, because you're like, I don't want to creep this woman out. But then it gets to a point where it's like so many green flags start to look like one big red flag after a while.
You like smile at her, try to appear friendly, but then you're like, oh no. But
why did I do that?
Yeah.
Now she thinks I'm trying to get her attention. It's all gone wrong. And then you maybe try and cast an apologetic glance, and now it looks like you're staring her down.
You give her a friendly wave, and then you say like, I'm not an attacker. And then you're like, why would I say that? Yeah. And then you chase after her while she's running and screaming
to tell her that you're a great guy.
You're like, I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
While you're running after her.
For anyone listening, I think to discuss this movie, like we're not trying to trivialize it, right? I'm not trying to be like, guys have it so fucking hard, because they don't.
We do, Lawrence. We have it really hard.
It's true. We do have it so
hard. We have to not attack women when we walk down the street.
And it's so troublesome to to retain that knowledge. For decent blokes, I think there's a conscious thought that you want to make someone as comfortable as you can, and in this scenario, Bill Skarsgård's put into a very awkward position.
Yeah. He's overcorrecting himself just like way too much, and like I say, that's just making him seem worse and worse, and it's it's not a good look for him.
He starts to mention like, I wanted you to watch me open the bottle of wine, so but then like there's two glasses open mouth right next to him, and I'm like, it's okay, I it's nice intention, but you're clearly. Well, she calls that out as well, to be fair. She's like, guys can afford to just go through life. Girls have to be more cautious about stuff. What did you make of specifically the casting? Because we can get into the character stuff in a bit. But Justin Long was in this. I presume you didn't know about that either?
No, didn't know Justin Long was in this. Quite a surprise, because I'm watching New Girl at the moment, so that's where I've most recently seen him. As just the weirdest little nerd ever.
Oh, touch my caboose.
Oh, you're a bad girl.
Fun fact before we go on to him. This movie was underperforming a little bit, so they released a new trailer on whatever studio's YouTube channel it was. They released the new trailer, and it's just Justin Long in his car. That's the thumbnail. You know, really sunny LA looking place.
Yeah. LA.
Yeah, LA. It probably was LA, yeah. He's driving in his red car. It feels like a summer classic movie. The title of it was just called Justin Long's New Movie. That was the title. People watched it and they were like, what in the fucking hell was this? Just also, I think if your movie is underperforming, because you'd never even heard of this, so of course, like,
I'd heard of it. I'd heard there was a movie called Barbarian. I knew that.
Yeah.
I just hadn't bothered to learn anything else about it.
Yeah. But I think casting Justin Long, and then like within the opening minute of him being on screen, being like him just singing along like a happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah.
And then being on a conference call with clearly his management or whatever, and then being like, yeah, she's accused you of raping her. It's a very serious thing. And to watch how he responds to that and reacts to that, Justin Long's a perfect choice for that kind of shit.
Yeah. What you're saying is Justin Long makes a good rapist.
No, I think it's so contrasting from what he's... Basically, they cast Bill Skarsgård because you have emotional baggage with him. He's known for playing creeps.
Yes.
Yeah, and it works because the movie's trying to convince you that he's a creep.
Yeah.
And then they show you Justin Long, and even though the reveal is obviously a lot sooner... they're like, oh, you're like, oh, who's this happy guy? Oh no, he's a terrible person, and then you're following him. It basically frames the movie's not very subtle, but it frames the question: who is the monster? Basically, is what it's saying. But yeah, speaking of the monster, yeah, how did you react to the movie's central premise, Nathan?
So I mentioned that it was 40 minutes of tension building and being just very uncomfortable. But then as soon as the reveal happened and you saw this weird gremlin woman, who I believe is actually played by a man.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, as soon as that reveal happened, then I was like, oh, okay, I'm actually okay. No, this isn't that scary. It's just a weird gremlin woman bashing Bill Skarsgård's face into a wall, which is fair enough, understandable. We'd all want to do that. So yeah, I was like, I suddenly felt at ease, and then we transitioned into Justin Long being happy and go lucky and all that stuff. So at that point, I like felt safe kind of until like the creep factor started to ramp up again later on in the movie. It's weird and dumb, and I don't understand it. Like I get it. She's a rape baby or whatever, and she's just been, that's her whole life, has been living in that house, and she's made this tunnel system, maybe. Or maybe he has, or someone's made.
I think he had made the tunnel system.
All right, there's a tunnel system under the street or whatever, and somehow like everyone else has moved out for some reason. That all wasn't explained.
I think it's more just like because they made a few comments about how it was a terrible area. The bloke in the 80s is saying the neighbours.
Well, it's like, Detroit. Detroit is famously a very rundown. Town, city, state. I don't know what the fuck it is.
I think they get away with it to an extent because there are comments made about like the gentrification of the area and like it's the one shiny, nice, cute house.
Yeah.
And everything else is like, it looks like the fucking Blitz. Like, looks like bombs have hit the fucking thing.
It was well done. Like, the first time you see, like, Tess on the street, it's quite dark. You see the house fine enough, and you don't really see what's beyond that, and it's just a street. Maybe it's a little bit of a deserted area, I guess, but yeah, it's just a street. But then the next day, you're like, holy shit, what the fuck, man? This is rough.
That's interesting as well. I like the again, basically all aspects of this filmmaking wise. It surprised me when I found out that this guy. I knew that this is his first ever film. He's never made a movie.
Who is it?
He's called Zach Kreger. He was in. I think he's in a comedy group called like That White Kids on the Block. Is it?
Hold on. Whitest Kids You Know.
Yes, he's part of like this comedy group called like Whitest Kids You Know.
Don't know, like you just pulled that off. We had a whole thing where I just found that out on IMDb.
Yeah, but now I'm giving that information over.
You're saying like that you knew that. So I'm trying to change the narrative.
I was going to try and get away with it, Nathan. Chalk one up on the opposite side of the Madam Hooch counter that we've got going on.
I'll never let you. Let you.
Right, well, Nathan has just informed me that I knew he was part of a comedy group. I want to keep that apparent. Still haven't seen any of their stuff. But basically, he's a first-time director. And I just love, like, little details in this that I think there are, yeah, you're right. There's some wanky stuff, like the aspect ratio change wasn't really necessary. That was a little bit of a look at me thing.
Yeah.
But like the stuff that I think is effective in this is weirdly enough, we feel safe at night when Tess is going to the house, and we can't see the street, and then it's in the lights that it's the scariest kind of thing, like a rundown area like that, especially once we've just seen 40 minutes of unsettling shit. I don't know. I just think it's a clever use to be like the scary stuff is when it's light, and the calm shit is when it's at night, and I thought that was interesting reversal. There's so many pans in this that I love. They're just clever use of like. I think he understands where to put the camera, and maybe that's sketch comedy training, I suppose, because he knows how to maximize a shot for its potential, be it comedy or suspense.
I feel like that's a very horror movie thing though, to like to have your camera like in one position and have. Have it framed so the actor is like, I don't know, left of shot, or not left of shot, like towards the left of the shot, and then they like walk out of it, and you're still lingering on that thing in the background or whatever, or like the blurred background comes into focus, and you notice like the cellar door open suddenly, or whatever.
It is. I don't think there's anything necessarily new here. I just think the level of skill he pulls it off with for a first time director is
it's very very impressive. Especially for a first-time director, not a known name at all. I hate dumb jump scares for no reason, though. Just, like, just jump scares where it's literally, it's not even a jump scare. It's just a person saying "hey," but then they added the thing on it, and it's
my
just,
man was
why?
just snoring.
Yeah, he's just like "hi," but they went so you're like, oh, I don't like that. So this movie loses points for that. So I hate it. I hate the movie, is what I'm saying. I hate everything about it. And I hate you for making me do this podcast.
That's fair enough. I understand that.
I like as well that, again, it leads into what Tess is saying, like how guys can just walk through life and not be bothered. Like, to build up the courage to go down into that fucking cellar and everything, Tess had like a whole just nightmare in her head, just like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. She had to like really build up the courage to actually go do it, having an emotional breakdown along the way. And Justin, I was like, yeah, I'm going to fucking go down there. I'm going to fucking explore. I'm going to kill whatever's down there. No one's in my house. And that was just very fun. Just the bravado of it, really.
I love that he saw all that space. What is clearly a fucking set. He has a bed, a bucket, and a camera.
He's just measuring. He's just happy. He's just fucking getting his measurement.
He's like, this is obviously nothing to do with me, and I didn't know it was here, but at the same time, wine cellar though? Listed as a wine cellar? Like, what is clearly obviously been a sex dungeon for many people. Just very all round. I think he's funny, and it's good that they cast a funny guy.
Yes.
For this, even though he's a despicable character, and I think
horrible character. Yeah.
That I think obviously there's two men in this that are quite clearly trash, terrible fucking people. But I think the movie almost parallels it with it. Bill Skarsgård is the like nice guy TM, right? Like he's the typical, like we said earlier, overcorrecting. But even like when shit hits the fan, he's almost imposing himself upon Tess. No, I will go and get you the sheets. I'll wash them in the dead of night for you. I will I'm such a gentleman, I will fix this for you, milady, kind of thing.
He's really trying to prove a point.
There's that, but then like also he's when he needs to go downstairs, like he doesn't just take Tess's word that there is something fucked down there. He has to see it for himself. Yeah. Which gets him killed, obviously, but he like kind of holds on to her as she goes to leave. It's just little things like the nicest of guys in a threatening position over a woman. I think it was a really nice inclusion that the nice guy is still. I wouldn't want to be in an argument with him. He's a tall, imposing bloke. Yeah. And I think they did a good job of that. But obviously I think the meat that saved the climax is Justin Long trying to redeem himself? Oh no, of course not.
No, he's a terrible person. Yeah. So there's a gremlin woman who hates clothes and loves babies. Is the only thing that we know about her. She's a product of incest and yes. The homeless guy describes her as like a copy of a copy of a copy. Yeah. Which is obviously fucked, and it also begs the question: kill the male babies? Did he? I would assume so. Yeah,
I'd imagine so. Because gross.
Yeah, there's no use for them.
Very, very gross stuff.
Very grim. Yes, there was a sequence which was very difficult to watch, where Justin Long was getting her breast forced upon his mouth, and it was just nothing about this movie was pleasant.
No, it's a troublesome watch, and I think even at the end, I think they even play on that a little bit, where like Justin Long, his character AJ, I think it was, he's a terrible bloke, and he's like the whole fucking it's comedic, but the way he reveals the like his mate is like real talk. It's a proper dude bro chat in the nightclub. It's so stereotypical, like. You know, you can tell me real talk, mate. Like, did you? And he's like, yeah, we fucked. Yeah, that's not. Firstly, wrong word for that.
Convincing. Like,
I'm a persistent guy.
All of it was just. I
like one thing that reoccurs with Justin Long's character is he takes accountability to the point where he doesn't have to sacrifice anything. Yeah, like. He calls her and he's like, I'm really sorry if you felt like this, and if you call me again, I'll apologize. Yeah, if you were offended. Then at the end, it's like he shoots Tess, which Tess is very forgiving of.
Way too forgiving.
If it was me, I'd be like, you were looking at me for about 10 seconds with a flashlight. It was
you
me.
Can see. I've got clothes on. What are you doing?
Also, I'm not murdering you. It's me. But I like the fact that he was like carrying her, and he almost he gets so close to having an introspective moment of saying like, no, I need to help you. I've done something wrong. I've made someone feel like this, and that doesn't sit right with me. Yeah. And then the woman busts down, murders the homeless guy, and he is so far out that door with not a care in the world that he is the only support that Tess, who has a bullet in her, has.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. The ending though, when Devil Lady, whatever, busts through the fucking when she breaks in and just rips that fucking guy's arm off. This is the point where it's like, oh, okay, you kind of lost me. You kind of lost me here.
Yeah.
It just got a bit. Is like you've had a semi-grounded, believable story up until now, but then she's fucking ripping his arm off. She's fucking climbing up this thing. She dives off it like fucking Spider-Man to save fucking...
Yeah, it's a weird for a guy that hasn't like a near expert use of where to put the camera. Those were some very strange shots.
The shot of her diving off to save Tess was it was bad. It was... I don't like saying things are bad, but it was bad.
The framing of it reminded me of, you know, the animation that they've never ever once changed in any Assassin's Creed game for the Leap of Faith.
Yes.
Where you go into the perfect swan dive.
Yes.
It was like that, and it felt very strange. And it reminded you also that shot in have you seen that memed shot in Black Adam where the Rock's face is like super close to the camera?
I've seen the shot, yeah.
Yeah, and he looks aerodynamic or whatever. I mean, he's nicely bald, but he's too big to be aerodynamic.
Yeah.
But then Justin Long, even after throwing her off the water tower, Justin Long goes down once he thinks that the woman is
you're
dead.
Alive. Yeah.
No, but then he says, "Oh shit, you're alive," and then he goes. Yeah. I had to do it. You know I had to do it. I saved you. I'm the reason that we're alive. And you can see him correcting himself. And then when the woman did just split his head in two, I just went, yeah, that's fair. He had his chance.
Yeah, that's fair. What's going on with the cops? I mean, ACAB, I get it, but like...
before we saw, I thought it was a racism thing.
I did too, but then that guy was also... black?
It was a person of colour, for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, I also did it feel like there was a strange lingering shot on the white cop at one point as he drove off.
I don't know.
I felt like the movie was trying to
I feel like they were trying to say something with the police scene, but I don't know. I mean, it could just be ACAB, because I get it, sure, ACAB. But it was still just a bit... It felt very bizarre. It felt like they were weirdly just not...
Yeah, almost like laughably so not competent.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if a woman, like, she was literally, like, held prisoner... And, you know, she was like, oh, I've been held prisoner. There's someone who's, like, going to kill someone. And they're just like, you're clearly a criminal. I don't know. It seemed very just...
I think the closest thing I could take to it, I think maybe it would have been more effective if it was two white officers.
Probably.
Because that would have communicated. And I don't think they were maybe going... I mean, they clearly weren't going for a race thing, because the right way to handle that would be create a different dynamic, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
In casting a white actor. I think what they were going for, the closest I could get it, and I don't think it was communicated very well, was maybe like a gentrification thing. Like it was the status of the area had gone down to a point where the only people that reside there are homeless people and drug addicts.
Yeah, possibly.
And they were just like, we're so sick of this. But then I feel like they fumbled it again by the homeless guy not having a phone. So like, who's calling the cops? And I don't know. To me, it felt like I can sympathize, because if I was just a guy on the street and someone was like, there is a woman who is murdering people, like, and she's like a naked, crazy, deranged woman, I'd be like, sounds weird. But then also, a woman being held captive is not something that, sadly, is something that happens a lot.
Yeah.
And she didn't look like she was like, she was speaking very like well spoken, but she was obviously roughed up.
She was clearly in distress.
Yeah. Like, but like she wasn't a lunatic. Like she could talk coherently. I don't know. I feel like you're right. I feel like they were trying to make a point, and
it was kind of like, you know, in like 80s movies and shit, when something goes wrong and they go to the police and it's just like two guys sat at a desk and like, yeah, sure, kid, I'm sure there's like a fucking bear in the woods or whatever, because that was a dumb example. I feel like they were trying to be clever about it at the same time and say something profound, but I don't know if it came across. But
I don't think it necessarily landed, but overall I think this is... I don't know. It's a good. I think, yeah. Like I said earlier, the subtlety of the question, "Who is the real monster?" is not lost.
It's me.
It's quite clearly men in general.
Yeah.
Which is fair at this point. I think women are owed that to a degree. While obviously, again, without trying to sound like a fragile internet man, it's obviously not. It's obviously a generalization, but let's be honest.
Yeah.
I think they do a good enough job of exploring all facets of man. The nice guy even sometimes needs to be wary of how he acts.
Yeah.
And that's more like his gut. Bill Skarsgård's, not him, his character. His gut instinct was to forcibly hold her, to milady her in terms of, I will deal with every little thing.
Has this movie been accused of being too woke on YouTube and everything?
I don't know if there's much of a reception for it on YouTube, but
really?
almost certainly.
I'm sure there's someone out there.
Yeah, like, let's be honest. If Ben Shapiro watched this, he'd be like, they're making a generalized assumption that all men are terrible. In this scenario, yes, the men displayed here are not good. But
Justin
you won't
Long
find
is clearly the hero of this movie. Okay.
Yeah. I don't even think he'd get it. I think he'd be like, I was about to make a horrible claim about Ben Shapiro that he'd probably agree with, but I'm not gonna dignify it and say it.
Yeah, probably best not to.
Yeah. Fucking, I don't know. Was it the Ben Shapiro show will be suing us?
I don't know how I feel about the credits, and like, she has the gunshot, she kills the devil woman thing or whatever, and then it like cuts into the credits. But then there's like more of the movie, but not really. There's like 3 shots of her just getting up and then walking away.
The only thing I'd say is I think I know the point they're trying to make, but I also think the movie's so caught up in saying a lot about the men in the movie, that it almost forgets to finalize Tess's story. In a way that Tess at the beginning is having an argument with her, I presume a boyfriend, or at least a bloke that she's involved with to a degree, romantically.
He keeps trying to call,
but she's had a few wines and she's letting Bill Skarsgård know that she feels like she is in this relationship where she just goes along with stuff, and it's like, she's the yes girl in the relationship type deal is how I think she's describing it. And I think the idea of showing her getting up and walking away was her almost trying to symbolize that she's kind of taking that control and making a choice. She doesn't lie there in despair. She's not gonna cry about it. She's gonna just get on with it and get up and go. But I don't know if that's a reach, but I feel like that's what the whole movie's trying to do by showing Tess is smart in this film, right?
Yeah.
She's smart, and her caring nature is what puts her in trouble. It's not she's dumb and she went back to, I left my gun, I need to go and get my gun, and which is still in the basement. It was more, there's a person in there and I care about people and I don't want him to die, because she doesn't know what the fuck he's done or who he is.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe she still would go back even if she knew. I don't know. But no, I don't know. I feel like they were trying to show her to be kind of breaking out of the cycle of just yes and.
Yeah.
But then, and I think those last couple of shots were to show her getting up, making a choice, walking away, not dealing with the ramifications of it all. She's not going to stay there for police to come and find multiple dead bodies in a sex dungeon.
Did you think at any point she was going to shoot herself?
No.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah.
When?
When she was like grabbing the gun. She was saying like, I can't go back there. I don't want to go back there.
I see.
As she was moving the gun, so I thought, well, maybe she's gonna shoot herself. But then I'd be but that's dumb. Just shoot her.
Yeah, just shoot her, and then your problem is solved. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I also think that was an appropriately somber moment, because this woman is she's a victim.
Well, of course she is. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's again, blah blah blah. Who's the monster? Wow. Yeah, we all get it.
Yeah.
But I think it's quick to. I don't know, in that scenario, she look, I viewed it more of a merciful, this is not a life.
Yeah.
And it was Tess making that choice. And maybe that kind of finalizes Tess's arc. She breaks someone else out of the cycle of male violence.
It was a mercy killing.
Yeah.
But also, like, she needed to die.
Yeah, she needed to die. She was just going to keep killing people.
She was going to keep killing and breastfeeding people, so...
Imagine, like, because she had like a childlike mind, and obviously I get what they were trying to do, like the layers of inbreeding had like super strengthened her in a dumb horror movie type of way.
Yeah.
But do you reckon there's a scenario where you can like give her a shower, maybe like rehabilitate her in any way?
See, I don't know, because my immediate thought is to be like, no, I think she's too far gone, really, at that point. But then I don't necessarily think anyone's too far gone. Like, I feel like there's always, I don't know, we're getting into a weird ethical thing here, but I don't know. I just think that it's probably, but even this sounds just harsh. It's probably for the best that she just died, but
yeah, but I don't think that's hard. I mean, it's a fictional character at the end of the day. Like, these issues are far more complex than a movie has time to dive into.
I'm not saying that if there was an actual victim of incest and
they should
rape,
die.
They should be shot and killed. That's obviously a very different scenario.
Yeah, this is a horror movie silly thing.
Yeah, in this silly little horror movie where this silly little devil woman is breastfeeding and killing people, then maybe the best solution is for her to be put at rest.
The way I could describe it in this movie, again, not in the real life scenario where this is possible to a far less degree, I think.
Oh, it's happened. It's not in like a superhuman kind of way, but it's happened.
And it's fucking vile and disgraceful and
just
all kinds of horrific evil.
Joseph Fritzl, remember him?
Fuck that guy, man. Fuck him into the sun. But yeah, like the way it felt like to me is if you tried to rehabilitate her. You see those videos on TikTok where people like train their dog to use buttons to talk. And and there's like reports of the dogs becoming like way too self-aware and questioning, why do I have to be on a lead? Why can't I talk? Why am I not afforded the same rights?
Yeah.
I don't know to what level that's true, but dogs are incredibly...
I'm very skeptical about it all, but...
Yeah, and I think dogs are incredibly intelligent creatures. I think if you give them the ability to become self-introspective, it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
Because they'll realise. They'll realise that they're smart.
Wasn't there an episode of Rick and Morty where, like, they made the dog smart or whatever, and then like 4 days later, he'd built like a robot body and taken over the world or something?
I was about to say I think that's a pickle, but I don't think that is the pickle.
No.
They're always doing a pickle and an animal in a suit or something. That's a very Rick and Morty thing.
They did a pickle once.
I feel like they'll do it again. They'll wait 5 years and they'll do it again. They'll dust it off. It's just, every episode of Rick and Morty is, I'm a dog and I can talk.
And then I don't know, I'd fart or whatever.
Yeah, I did a fart. I drink too much and I've done a sick. And then all of a sudden and time travel gives us the opportunity to speak to our dead relatives who will never know that we are. Like, it just, shut up! What a fucking wanky show that is, man.
I think it's a good show, but I don't know.
It's been adopted by a we're so deep fucking mentality,
I feel like you have to just... It's fine to enjoy that show, but just recognize it for what it is. Don't be like...
It's edgy. It's memey and edgy. It's what it's designed to be.
Funny meme show.
Yeah.
But also the deep introspective knowledge of Rick is just far beyond that of humanity.
A pickle made me want to kill myself this week in TV. What about you?
He turned himself into a pickle, Lauren. You don't understand.
I don't understand.
All right, that's enough. So let's move on to your silly little question.
All right. Another happy question.
Yeah, it is, baby.
If you have tuned in midway through the episode or you skipped the beginning, that is fair enough. What I do is I ask Nathan a question.
I always skip through to my favourite part of the show, which is another happy question.
The most pointless segment, I think, but we're too far into it now to stop. Do you remember the forgotten segments of this show?
Oh, I remember Clone Wars Corner very dearly.
There was Clone Wars Corner. Did the Cars thing ever make it to air? That was a disgust idea,
I forgot about it. I made a theme song and everything. I never made it to air, no. But we can maybe do that.
Yeah, we'll come back to it.
Who knows? It's not in words, though. We're not planning a Cars podcast.
No, fucking hell. Yeah, maybe one day.
Life is a hunter.
Yeah, if you skip the beginning, what I do is I ask Nathan a question. Could be a hypothetical, could be a fucking... You get it. It's a question I ask Nathan, and he answers it at the end of the episode. Today I asked him, he has to do what Tess does, share an Airbnb or sleep on the streets of London with a man who we both know, but we can't name here.
Okay, you never said sleep on the streets of London.
That's your other option, though, isn't it? Like, what did I say your other option was earlier?
You didn't.
Oh. Well, I guess... fade into nothingness. If not, then I don't know.
Well, finish your thing.
And Nathan has to choose if he's doing that. He has to go about his evening as tested. He has to share a bottle of wine with this person. He has to maybe develop a connection with this person. Has to put on some bed sheets in a flirty, fun, silly way. Nathan, are you cracking on with that stuff?
No, absolutely not. I'm not stepping foot inside that Airbnb. Okay. First of all, because I know who's inside it, and I don't like them. Second of all, because I'm in London, and this is why I brought up the streets thing. I'm in London. I can walk like 4 fucking steps, and I'll find a hotel or something.
Expensive.
Like you're telling me,
pricey.
Yeah, but I got money. You're telling me the entirety.
Oh shit! Oh fuck!
You're telling me the entirety of London is booked out. I can find somewhere.
That's true, yeah.
I got the tube. I got the buses. I got TfL. I can get around.
You ever had to wait up in London? You ever had to like walk the streets at like 5 a.m?
I have walked the streets at 5 a.m. I don't know if I've had to.
I have. I stayed up one night. I don't know why. I can't remember why. But I was
but
just walking around London.
have you had to though? Like
I haven't had to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a thing. Like.
I'm a man of privilege, what can I say?
I'll go to McLaren. I'll just be like, Denise, let me...
Lovely stuff. Well, if you've enjoyed this episode, then more go up. More do go up at... Yes, thank you. So if you've enjoyed listening to these, we have new episodes every Friday at 10 a.m. They go up, and you can get a little reminder if you follow us on social media. So if you go to @AnotherHappyPod on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, you'll get a little post that will jog your memory.
A little post.
You can also give this. You can also give this a review. I've noticed some more reviews are slowly coming in.
Are they?
Yeah, we're getting. I think most people are appreciating it. It doesn't let me see individuals, but we're getting an average of like 4.6. I think.
I don't like these 4s. I don't know. We need 5s. Come on.
We only need 5. Yeah, but that does mean that some of you are not pressing 5. So come on,
5s.
Give us a second chance.
Exactly.
5s only in here.
Yes.
And next week we're going to be having a whole bunch of fun doing this.
This school is full of rebels. What is your name?
Matilda Wormwood.
Wowee, that's going to be a whole bunch of fun. I can't wait, Nathan. Can you?
I cannot. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, thank you very much for listening. We will see you all next week. I thought you were doing the theme. I was off. I can put it in myself.
Oh, shit. Point. Yeah, very sorry. Bye. Fucking terrible.